Evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We are here, we are live, and there's a bunch of us here ready to get stuck in for what is the 4th anniversary, the 4th birthday of FC Barcelona, my Sorare club, as it were. And every time we get to this time of year, I'm always thinking sentimentally, we've came a long way as a club, as a community, as you guys here that all support the content on the channel. And I love to try and do something, try and get together with either some friends of the channel, anyone from Sorare, or everything else in between that we possibly can. Whenever we do this, I think last year I might have just been a one-on-one I had with Nicholas, and a few other years we've had some giveaways and whatnot. But with this year coming into our 5th season, 4 years on the platform, it feels like wow, how time has flown. And I was saying to the FC Barcelona members earlier today in the Telegram group that memory lane is now pretty long when it comes to Sorare, depending on how long you've been playing for. So I thought to do this one, we'll just do a nice little stream. We can walk down memory lane. We can do a bit of an AMA. So anyone in the live chat today, feel free to fire out some questions and all that good stuff. And yeah, we can just walk down everything in between, what's gone in the past, what is yet to become. And yeah, like I keep saying, everything else in between. And the first man to answer the call, he didn't answer the call for us on Deadline Show. I thought he was sleeping, but he was actually couriering one of his friends across country to an airport as they were escaping the law. And that is, of course, Harry Trades. Harry, my man, good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. Yeah, deep apologies for what day was it? Tuesday?
Wednesday? Tuesday?
Yesterday?
Wednesday.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
It was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. Yesterday morning. Yeah, I was unfortunately on car duties. I wasn't sleeping, as the rumors that I've heard have been circulating. But no, I'm alive and I'm well, and just thank you for inviting me, mate. Big occasion for you, and excited to see where the stream goes.
Yeah, it should be a good one. And like I said, couldn't do it without you. And when I think about the Sorare, how long memory lane is, and all the friends we've collected along the way, one of the first names and faces that jumps to my mind is the one, the only Lairdinho, Andy Laird. Good to see you, my man. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for the invite. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it should be a good one. And like I said to you guys and everyone else when I was trying to get a bit of a stream together, because some of you that know me pretty well, organisation is definitely not my strong suit. I didn't really have anything in particular in terms of topic or anything like that, but I thought, it's one of those ones where, especially between the three of us, there's been a long path trodden. There's been a long journey that we've all been on, and it does feel like Sorare as a game is all about the kind of journey you go on with your club, your cards, and everything else. But especially now, like the game is kind of developed into a really different place to where it really has ever been before. A couple of days ago, we got a card factory opening up. We're all playing Rivals, and it's the Euros, and it doesn't matter if you get cards or not anymore for some of these things. I hope everyone that joins us tonight has a good time and can get stuck into the live chat as well with any thoughts, sentiments, questions, and all that other good stuff. But yeah, guys, I'm feeling pretty sentimental at this point, because it is like, 4 years. It's a pretty long time. I was thinking earlier on today, like, wow, when I was first playing this, like my kids would have been 4 and 2, and now they're 8 and 6, and it's just, where does the time go? But I was setting you guys up for coming in today. Was there anything that kind of propped into your mind in terms of how time flies or how things have changed in particular?
Honestly, I don't know what to start.
Oh, I was gonna say the one that like immediately popped into my head was you moving into this studio, and like how we used to all watch like your streams from what we then found out was like the tiniest little closet base. Like I remember when you moved and you did like the whole video about the move, and then you were like, this is where I stream. And I was like, that's the smallest space I think anyone who's and it was like the dedication to do as much as you did from that space was like incredible. And then you moved into this awesome studio that you have now, totally well-deserved. And just like here in the States, like our schooling tends to happen in like 4-year gaps, or excuse me, like 4-year blocks. And so like the time span of 4 years is like very defined here. So you know exactly where you were and like what happened over the span of 4 years when you were either in, elementary school, we call it middle school, high school, and college or university. And I feel like the 4 years, and you have been on Sorare longer than I have, but I just feel like I've been here forever. And it feels like this is like the longest 4 years of my life in a good way. And yeah, just happy we're still here and celebrating and expecting Sorare to be around for plenty more. And yeah, happy to keep watching all of your stuff and celebrating the wins.
That's it.
Yeah, it's been a mad one, hasn't it, for you, to be fair? Like, who would have thought a little NFT crypto underground game would sort of like turn into like a proper gig. And to take that, like, that was a big risk, going back to what Laird said, as far as getting a studio or whatever. I know you might not have had a choice in that sense, judging off the size of the area you were working with, but Jesus, man, yeah, it's nuts, to be fair. It's just be class. I've been there in real life. It's a lot bigger than what even looks on screen. So like, that looks big enough, but there's another whole other section which is equally as big, if not bigger, to the left, or to whatever way we're looking at it. But it's huge. And that's still half of it. There we go.
It's still a mess.
There's a lot going on. And there's so much more that could go on. I know it's not just about the studio today, but you've been talking to me about plans for doing sort of meetups there and stuff like that, hasn't there, Quinny? There's been so many things that could have happened, will happen, and all that sort of stuff. In due course. But man, it's fair play to you. Props.
Yeah, and I didn't really think. Thanks very much for the kind words, guys. I didn't really think about the studio aspect of it all really until you kind of mentioned that, Laird, because, like you say, it's a long 4 years, but it's a long 4 years in a good way. In most ways, it's a good way for sure. And yeah, time in this place for me just is. It's a different time space dimension almost, where it just doesn't. Yeah, it's pretty surreal sometimes, to be honest with you. And yeah, it's a bit mad thinking building this kind of wee place off the back of, like Harry was saying, if we kind of underground game that we all started playing, that we just had mad faith and believe in, that it was going to be a bigger and better game, really, more than anything. So I don't think at any point where even a lot of people maybe catching this stream have found it, I don't think anyone's ever held it out as being like the finished article, or like it's all working, rewards are fine, card prices are well balanced, or anything like that. There's always been some sort of moving kind of element for it. So yeah, I didn't really even think about this place. I've been in here now then for probably 2.5 years at this point, which is absolutely mental. And on that kind of note, honestly, I don't know if I'll be in here much longer, to be quite honest with you, because it is a big space and it does cost money, and just it's just the reality of things. Again, some people that have been on the channel for a while will maybe know, I sold a few cards and cashed myself up a while ago to get this place and to do some stuff, and everything's been great. Obviously the channel grows and we move onwards and onwards, but yeah, bills go up as well as other things. So it's been a wild ride while it's lasted, but on the actual studio note, I just thought it maybe be half appropriate to mention that now, but I don't know how much longer I might actually be in here. So we might have another little change, maybe another studio, or maybe something else kind of happen. So yeah, it's definitely been a kind of wild ride in that sense. I didn't want this to turn into the Quinny Fest, so I really do appreciate, because again, it's something I'm very grateful for. Everyone's obviously happy anniversary. All the love on Twitter was absolutely phenomenal as well as all the kind words from you guys as well, because if the content's helped people, they've had a good time with it, it's been funny, or it's helped them learn the game or whatever, then that's the whole purpose of doing this. So I love to see that there is hundreds, thousands of people out there that have enjoyed it and have made benefit from it in some way, shape or form, and that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Because for me coming into this, and anyone that's on the channel will know, I'm just about the football, I'm just after, I said in that little tweet today, when I first came across this game, it was just the perfect hybrid of so many other games that I'd played with, and it was just that Venn diagram of it kind of touched on everything and just felt like the right place at the right time in a lot of ways. And I think, especially Laird, when I tune into your stuff, it feels like every day of the week, except for this week, you've also had a nice wee bit of time off, which is cool. But one of the things that often gets brought up is pricing and pricing history. And I know a lot of people in the chat, in the group chat today, we're talking about old prices of goalkeepers and, I won this guy and I sold him for that amount, and a few other bits and pieces. But the pricing has always been kind of in the vein of, we're early to a really big party, or we're early to something that should be kind of a lot bigger. And it does feel now that the game is in a real place now where you can see it moving forward from here, and it's not oh, we're still early, or is this early, or when Prem, or when rewards fixed, and all that other kind of thing. As we lose Harry.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're totally right about that. The whole price thing, I mean, obviously there was a time where everything was just so expensive and it all just felt very fake. And obviously that was like a big NFT crypto thing anyway at the time. So sorry, yeah, the Gil card, I guess nobody, Gaz has not seen it. I'll bring it out. Hold on. So I got this at the MLS All-Star game last year. It is signed by Carlos Heel. I did not see him sign it though. Somebody from Sorare had him sign it. But we had a competition during the game. A bunch of us went to the MLS All-Star game in Washington, D.C. last year. And I believe the contest was first goal scorer and time of goal. And I believe I won with Gabby Jesus in like the 6th or 7th minute. Arsenal destroyed the MLS All-Stars. And so I got this. And then PSU fans too, who is the original Carlos Heel homer, got one as well. I don't remember how he got one. I think he stole it, but this is the real one. But it's it's like a hard plastic. Yeah.
That's cool. Love that.
Yeah.
All but the swag, isn't it?
That's all I care about. T-shirts, caps, and fake Sorare cards. Or maybe they're real Sorare cards. I'm not sure how you describe this one.
It's a nice. I'd call that a player edition, Laird. I'd call that a player edition. So that was the one that we had there. And then, yeah, Laird into the studio and then straight to Celtic Park. I'm trying to move the faces so we don't cover Laird over with the comments. If there's anything just to slam up there. But again, guys, thanks for all the well wishes and all the 4 more years from Hudson and everything as well. It's been a wild one, and like, yeah, I think that's just the main kind of thing where I'm at with the game right now is like looking at it and really feeling it. It does feel like this is like, it's not really an early situation anymore. This is more like if you've been here before now, you were early and now it's like the game is kind of what it is. And Gaza, that's what she said. And Jay's saying here, of course, he wishes that he could have found the game now. Prices are so good, and I think that's kind of what I was touching on a minute ago. Is like pricing's been one of these things that has made the game so good, where like I can sell a few cards and pay for this thing for a year and a bit quite easily. Yeah. But it has stopped a lot of people actually really enjoying the game or really plugging into it, and it's one of those ones where like when there's so much previously when you've been building your gallery and it's like, oh, a goalkeeper's this and getting a good team costs that. It kind of takes a lot of fun out of it quite quickly because like if a guy gets hurt or a guy lets you down or something like that, like it's been a proper stinger. And it does really feel like for the last 6 or 8 months, like fun and such has been much more at the top of everyone's experience rather than ROI and card price variation and, how much does it cost to move to this division and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I was aware, Harry, I think you were about to say something before your camera went out and I'm just trying to get us back.
I don't know what I was going to say, to be honest, but yeah, on card prices, I mean, yeah, that I think you're right. It is like the fun factor now just seems to be at the forefront, doesn't it, of everyone's sort of mind, not everyone, but majority of people playing this game now and coming into the game. It's more like, what fun can I get out of it type of thing, rather than like, what card can I sell for 10 grand and buy for $1,000? Like that just, what I'm saying? Like nobody thinks like that anymore, which is, fine, I guess. I guess it attracts, I guess there's more people coming into it, there's more people to discover that want to do the fun type of thing than like, the ROI boys type of thing. What I'm saying? Like, obviously mixture of both is nice, but like, I think there's a lot more people out there for Sorare to attract that are looking for a fantasy football game with, a, financial element, but like, it's not like the only reason they're coming in, like there needs to be more substance than that. And I think the game now is just full of substance, right? Like you have to fluff it up somehow. Like looking back, it was bare bones at the start of, when we first started playing, which was great at the time because that's all there was. But like, over 4 years, it's got so much more like in depth and there's just so many little avenues now popping up within the game. This like, it is making it really stand out, I think, as just like a product.
There was a Nellis did a podcast years ago with, I think it's Rivaldo on Sorare, but he was like he's like an investor in Sorare. Like he owns a bunch of Sorare cards too. But he was saying that one of the big kind of differences between people who invest into Sorare, meaning like the company, and people who play Sorare, and as they think of it, like invest in cards, is that the people who invest in the cards are like heavily scrutinizing the game every day. Like we're involved in it. So every little thing that like maybe doesn't seem right, like we recognize it. And people who like invest in a big company like Sorare just care about like what the numbers are at the end of the day. Like they're not in it like we are. And he was saying one of the kind of negatives when you're so into it every day is you don't really see the improvements as big as they are. And something like this, like if you 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago saw what the game is today, you would be like, no way, it's that great. Like no way. And I think what Sorare has been able to do over the 4 years is like really incredible. And we can squabble about, there's plenty to squabble about. But like when you realize like where this game was, including like when Quinny joined, there were like dozens of users probably, and like probably not even dozens of licensed teams. And you see where it is now, and you're just like, they turn this into a very big, legitimate product and platform, and it's just something that's like worth recognizing because it's like it's really impressive what they've been able to do over the last 5 years for them and 4 while Quinny's here.
Yeah, I was going to say the game is actually older than my playing career on it. Surface Stairs celebrated his 5th year anniversary last week, so GG's to you, Surface. And like I kind of referenced that in my tweet as well. And I think you make a great point earlier because it's like a lot of the stuff that the company, like a lot of the stuff that they've actually put into place for the game, they've had to like invent themselves, you know, in terms of a lot of the Web3 to Web2 kind of bridging software, or not donating, I beg your pardon, maybe it's donating for some people, but like depositing onto the site, withdrawing and everything else. It's just became like a night and day kind of experience from where it was. And I think that's a bit of an understated element of it all as well, because not just like some of the infrastructure that Sorare managed to put into place, like the wallet dynamics, but as we remember, some people, how long would it ago? Maybe been about 18 months or so, like Nicholas is hanging out with like the French Prime Minister and stuff like that, and he's like shaping regulation on, or helping shape the regulation on this stuff as well. And like, you know, it's not just the game and what they're doing ground level for themselves, but it's the stuff that they're kind of been forced into problem solving and kind of making kind of innovations against as well. I think is very overlooked, and you know, it's very easy for us not to appreciate it or care about it because it doesn't really play too much of a difference. But it's one of these things that, you know, I think in the fullness of time, once we roll further forward and into the history books, we'll maybe see Nicholas and maybe one of my kindred spirits who's managed to join us for today as well. We've got the legend that is Dan from Sorare here, talking on further. Dan, good to see you, my man. And you're muted. Textbook Dan. There's always got to be.
Flashback to the La Liga announcement. I did that on purpose, so I just want to call back, you know.
Love it. Dan, good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Quinny. Happy Sorare birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's mad to think it's been 4 years. But like, I know you less than 4 years, but it feels a lot longer.
It certainly does. And like I say, I'd sent the call out to a few people, Dan, and when it came to approaching anyone from Sorare, I thought if I was going to get anyone on, like I just mentioned by bringing you on, I thought, Dan, my kindred spirit, the guy that I know we're on the same wavelength with, a guy that loves football, loves the game, and really does, like, you know, for everything you do for Sorare, it is really like, it's quite tapped into like the core, the essence of what the game is. And for me, you're one of the main people that really does help keep the ship in lane, as it were, on track with, you know, what it's meant to be and what it kind of signals towards. So I'm really glad you could take some time out with me. I know you've got a young family and everything as well. And is that an England shirt you're wearing?
No, it's started great. I got this actually the first kind of if you like World Cup or Euros that I worked, I think was the one in Brazil. What was that now? 2012 was it? I can't remember how long ago. I can't remember my dates.
Yeah.
And I got the German jersey as like a thank you for my work at it. And so I thought it'd be good to wear it today. I meant to wear it yesterday at the office, but I forgot. But yeah, when I got the WhatsApp message, Queenie, I was obviously honored, but also like I was like, oh shit, it's been a while since I last spoke to Queenie. We used to speak a lot more regularly. Yeah, same with like Laird and Harry as well. Like I've kind of haven't been on the front lines as much recently for personal reasons. But,
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get a Lamborghini and a yacht, I guess, you know. I kid.
Actually, I was considering that as a name for the baby, but Lamborghini was like on the final list. You know?
The Wi-Fi on the yacht's not so strong when you're out on the Mediterranean.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's it. That's it. I have this nice kind of like template Parisian apartment background, but really I'm out near Monaco. I just want a rake load of the casino, and be my ahead of me.
Love it. And look, one of the things I said to you, Dan, as well, when you're just like, what will we talk about or whatever, you know, like I said to the guys, I didn't really have any clear, like, oh, let's rattle through a topic or whatever. But I think from like yourself and from Sorare, especially, like me and the guys were just chatting about before you came on, like it's changed so much, like for the better in a lot of different ways. And a lot of it has been really like, if you were to go back through the blog posts, all 5,000 of them, it's probably only been like 4 months or something. You know, it has been quite quick, but it does feel like it's maybe we've lived with some of this stuff a bit longer than what we've actually had.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any victory lap stuff, any credit you might be taking for this or anything. But
no, I think when Laird was talking about how if you saw the product like 3-4 years ago and how much has changed, it reminded me of my interview with Sorare. At the end, kind of the final interview, I was like, oh God, I think this is going pretty well. And in the final one was a call with Brian. And I asked him, so when is the product going to go out of beta? Because I'd been testing it, and I was like, oh, like I didn't even question. I said, surely this hasn't been a full launch. This was like 3.5, 4 years ago. And Brian's answer was like, oh, as far as we're concerned, you know, we've launched the product. I don't know why you think it's in beta. And I was like, oh fuck, like.
And they still hired you.
Yeah, like they still hired me, you know. But I was like, I really thought I'd fallen at the last hurdle. Like after, I was like, oh my God, like I did. It was like a whole day of interviews. And I was like, I felt I did well. And then at the last time, I just kind of like insulted, you know, their work, kind of. But I think that kind of gives you an idea of how far I think we've come. And I think, in hindsight, what's happening and what we're kind of transitioning towards in gameplay in August, actually mid to end July, we actually kind of had that vision, and we were thinking about it, you know, 2.5 years ago. It was just trying to find the right time to transition, and like a lot of care and thought went into it. So on my side, once the announcement went out in February, it kind of timed well with the birth of my daughter, because I had like paternity leave and I didn't have anything really to think about. And then I came back and Rivals Leagues was happening. But yeah, so no victory lap, but like there was a sense of renewed optimism. Not that it was ever gone, but like optimism in terms of like the Essence capsule at maximum level, you know, where I could craft a T1 plus.
Well, it's funny you say that it's been kind of in the offing for 2.5 years, because again, one of the kind of in-jokes in the community has been like the emergence and the disappearance of the progress bar, which this now finally kind of is. So a lot of this stuff has been cooking away for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I guess with the progress bar as well is kind of such a broad term. Like it means so many things. I think it's why it became such a pretty decent meme, because anything that we could announce could have been spun off as a progress bar, and we never actually brought something. But now we do have the progress bar, but it's more kind of like a vertical flip, or there is some element of progression, I guess. And then we have division systems as well. So it came, but just not in the way we had initially pitched it in that AMA. I don't know how long ago, 3 years ago, I think probably.
Yeah. Because I was thinking when you said that there, and I remember, and the guys might remember this as well, but there was a time where you guys had said that you wanted to just randomly award losers, if you know what I mean. So like if you didn't finish into the rewards, a bunch of random people might have got something. And I think like the boxes is kind of like a nice kind of way of kind of doing that without doing it the way we maybe originally imagined it. So, like I say, it does feel like some of these things, although brand new, we've kind of been living with them for a little while. And like, yeah, honestly, like the amount of times things come out from you guys, like, and like, you know, me, Laird, and Harry are all kind of good and bad at this in different measures. But you see one thing that comes out and it's like, oh, this is good or terrible, or it's missing something. But there's normally like a couple of things, and when, you know, they've all been announced or unveiled, they kind of interlock together, and then it makes a lot of sense. And like this latest kind of raft of stuff, which is culminated in the Card Factory in essence, or whatever, has probably been one of the best kind of evolutions of features that there's definitely been, you know.
Yeah, I think I remember when I was first seeing, because we also had big visions on how the game could become. It could be more like a game, you know, where you have visuals and things that are just fun to look at every day, and make, you know, certain elements of even building your lineups more fun. And when I first saw the design specs for the direction they were going in, they really liked the Card Factory direction. First thought was, this is class, like people are gonna love it. But I also thought, oh, the kind of diehard fantasy football players probably won't like this this amount of gamification, if you like, in terms of like a science lab, which doesn't really have a huge connection with football and stuff like that. But I think like everything's coming together, and then we're kind of building up towards what's going to happen in July now with you know, our first kind of rollout of pre-order cards, and then, you know, prize pool announcements, and kind of, it's like the final, if you want, like, it's the conclusion to everything that started more or less in December with the first kind of winter special Premier League iteration. And I think the only way we could have achieved that is actually with a steady rollout, staggering it out in kind of different block pieces rather than trying to do everything at once. Because we've tried that in the past, and it's not easy. And then also kind of iterating on feedback, so that when it comes to July, we offer a polished experience, not for new users, but for like our existing community, or if you like, customers. Kind of that's where the focus is at, really. Is in July and August, we're focused on making sure that the new season is fun and kind of delivers on what we promised for the customers. And then after that, we'll start thinking about growth.
Can I ask a bit of an intrusive question?
Go on, Harry.
Sorry. Now, with like the pre-order stuff, like card-wise for like July, in prep for August, like we're always, like, as a community, we're always sort of speculating on like how are the picture situation going to work with that? Like,
so
yeah, how does that work?
So we'll have so what we're going to do, I can give you kind of a preview of how we're going to announce things. We'll do like a kind of like a more technical piece or announcement, which goes into a lot of the details that I think, if you like, OGs or core users would really like to know, is how pre-order is going to work, and you know, we'll, you know, make certain obviously commitments and highlight that, you know, utility is the same as if it was a card with a player picture and all that. And so we'll give all the technical details, and then that will be kind of a preview to the kind of more aspirational announcement, which will come closer to when they first land on the market, which would be kind of, I think, 2 weeks after that. So all that's happening in July. That was a kind of a long-winded way of saying I can't tell you, Harry, yet.
That's fair. Next question.
It'll hit the engagement numbers on the Twitterverse.
What about like Belgium League comes back earlier than Premier League? Like, is everything like staggered, if that makes sense? Like,
yeah,
per league.
Stuff will be staggered. Yeah. So like I think really kind of saying what I said is we're focusing on the core users and the customers and things like that. So in that case, you know, there's, how do I say this without giving away too much? There's respect to the football calendar, you know, that more casual users wouldn't give a shit about.
Yeah,
got you.
No, that's fair.
Yeah,
I was gonna.
I'm revisiting everything I just said there.
No, you didn't slip up.
Winnie's already spliced it and tweeted it. Don't worry.
I don't think there's anything that revealing there, but it's good to hear the terms like pre-order. That's the kind of the headspace you guys are in and such, which is quite cool. And I got another flashback there just now, Dan, when you were talking about that stuff in terms of the innovations and the blocks and whatever. Because I remember when we were at the Liverpool experience last year, me and you were sitting out having a wee beer in the beer garden, talking a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah.
And I know personally, like the whole Clash of the Clans element is definitely something you've tried to foster into Sorare, and we've got, like, honestly, if I can say this just straight, I don't think there's been a better game mode that you have done for that whole, like, trying to get a WhatsApp group all together and playing the game together, if you know what I mean, is what's going on there. So I was just going to say, like, number one, like, I take it that was you that kind of helped push that forward, and number two, is that something that we might see a domestic version of, or a regular version of as time rolls on?
So
If you're allowed to.
yeah, no, I can definitely talk about that more freely. So yeah, I think that there was a group of us who were working on that concept. It was actually, I think, Carl. I don't know if you remember Carl from the old Discord days. So like he's always been, it's always been at the back of his mind, like, how could we try and create a kind of co-op fantasy mode that mirrors a lot of successful mobile games. Like, he's a game designer, and it's kind of a challenge, and I think with Rivals Leagues was essentially the Euros. We were thinking, well, do we do what we did at the Global Cup? We were trying to scope what we would do, and we always saw it as a live ops moment. So the best thing to do in that case was let's go with an experiment and take learnings from it. And so we opted for, well, let's see if we can build a co-op mode that people enjoy. So the element of the launch that was a great success is that element of engagement and retention. Like, once it got going, people really bought into it, and like you said, they're messaging on WhatsApp. I'm in a group with friends where I kind of like took it. I took the opportunity to kind of try and, if you want to, I retargeted them after 2-3 years. And like, we're in a WhatsApp group, and they're sharing me their teams, and they've like made memes about it. Like, one of the recurring things is like, they keep on pestering me for Nicola's number so they can call him and give it out about some bugs and stuff like that. There's another one where I'm referred to as Judas because I didn't share one of my lineups with them. Like, I didn't share them the sub strategy for Germany yesterday, where if you don't have the forward, you can start with like a low cap player, and then I swapped in for Fulkrug, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell us this?" And then so like today, everyone's been like going at it on their own, and it's kind of like another day of just really fun engagement around the Euros. So I think we really succeeded on that side of it. Where we, with the other test as well, was to see if we could build that kind of virality or K factor. Initially kind of get a new sign up, and then have them see that this is cool, and then invite a friend within a day or two to kind of into their Rivals League. And on that side, what we actually saw was, once they understood the product and got to play it, so kind of after day 1 or day 2 of the Euros, then we started seeing that kind of virality happen. But it came a little bit too late into the competition. So there's loads of learnings to take from that. It didn't happen before, which is a shame, but at least there's like a lot of like really positive takeaways. And I'm having loads of fun. This is like a new way to watch the Euros, and like, I'm really enjoying it.
That's been brilliant. I've barely even looked at my SO5 teams for this one, and as someone who doesn't really build for internationals, like, this has been really easy for me to keep up playing with. And there's a great question here from Scottish Bar Steward, who I'm so glad he's brought this up, because I would have forgotten, and I'm glad you're here, Dan, for this one. But in the image that we've got of Sorare Industries, are the cards in a shower?
It actually does look like it. So in the recipe, there's kind of this uranium, and so it's essentially the cards are washed, And also, depending on the club, you'd want to clean it a little bit. I actually don't know. I actually saw the shower thing as well.
So I've got it open here as well, and it's I don't know if it's just my desktop graphics or whatever. It looks a wee bit kind of bent here, and I'm not too sure this is a shower anymore. But
no, that's for the scientists to wash to shower after they've done with the crafting.
Ah, is that what it's for? Got you.
Yeah.
So it is a shower. Confirmed, it is a shower.
It is a shower. Yeah. That is a shower. We have like the design team's grown, and they're quite a fun group. So they like sneaking in little things. And I'm sure the shower is some kind of inside joke between them. But I like it anyway. Maybe one day we'll see one of the whales, make their own Sorare shower.
Perhaps, yeah. Depending on the size of the whale, maybe a car wash rather than a shower.
Yeah.
Depending on what they've got going on. We had another good question coming in here. I've just kind of lost it, so I'm going to have to scroll back to grab it because I know there was one or two that. Someone had a question. I think it was Joe Ducey. Where is it? Yeah, I didn't really understand this, so I'll just put it on screen and throw it out there. Honest question: why is Essence rolling out to Classic much later than new season? I'm sure Essence is boxes only, which is Classic, isn't it? Maybe it means the other way around. So, is there any will we get Essence in new season? I think is maybe the question.
I can't share that yet. So
Fair.
I think so. What I can say is I saw there was a few questions on if we're going to add boxes and Essence to like Challenger and that before the start of the new season.
Maybe that's what he means.
Maybe that was it. Yeah. So no, it's just going to be in Euros for now because it's kind of like a test, just to make sure everything's running okay. There's a lot of spikes, and we have to. It's an infrastructure decision also, and also just like a balance thing to make sure everything's operating well. But yeah, so it'll just be for the Euros. For the international competitions, I think there's boxes in America as well. I'm a bit less involved on a lot of these announcements now, so I don't know from just writing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah. No, I think so. I didn't understand it at first, but I think I get what Joe's driving at now. It's like, in season, I guess he's referring to the Euros. Or
yeah, that's it then. Yeah. I saw a few of those on Twitter.
Dan, what about there's a question here from Gaza, which was actually directed to us, but you popped in, so
yeah,
perfect person to ask. He's basically just asking about like Classic next year and sort of like, obviously there's going to be so many more cards being played there because all of this season's cards are going to be in there and whatever. And he says surely some changes needed. I think one thing I've spoken about on content and maybe with Quinny and stuff is like right now we're only allowed to use 3 lineups in Classic, 3 and whatever in season. I know you're probably not going to be able to say black and white, but like, is there plans on like increasing that in any way if there's just like too many players playing by your standards? If that makes sense.
So like too many people playing Classic over like opting to commit to in season.
Kind of more just like there's just going to be so many Classic lineups because there's just going to be so many cards next season. You know what I'm saying? From this past season's in season cards all turn into Classic. Yeah. Every card on the platform, effectively, before the pre-seasons, pre-launch cards are going to be Classic cards. So I think people are a bit like, right now I'm playing against 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in Rare. Never mind, let's call it 10,000 limited. Next year it's going to be 20, 25,000. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So
you're worried about the increase, if that makes sense, and not giving us more lineups or whatever.
Part of the, if you like the gameplay restructure is part of that is addressing that consistent increase we have of essentially supply with utility that comes every season, and we need to maintain certain levels of gameplay balance. In the old format, we would have needed to maintain a certain level of growth as well, for example. So the split that we have now in the gameplay addresses that for new season cards. And that introduces a new cycle that we get every season. So that's great. And what we will do, and I think it's already been proven from the tests that we ran for in-season competitions, is that there's like a drive and an interest for those type of competitions. And so we just need to continue to execute on that and make sure it's a positive experience. On the Classic side, I think as you said, like as the supply grows, I think there will need to be, not saying like an acceptance, but there will be like a natural increase of supply, as you said, every season. I think, but how we're trying to address certain levels of competition on that side of things is, for example, one of the ways is how can we make the rewards experience more engaging? So we knew that there's a certain level of, like we're bound by scarcity essentially. So we can't maintain reward supply relative to the amount of utility supply that you have.
Yeah.
So things like essence and reward boxes and other types of rewards was ways in which we could continue to keep Classic interesting, like putting cash in podiums, for example, and that kind of stuff. So it kind of answers your question. Like it's on our map. I think we've made great strides in kind of addressing that, but it's also just part of the gameplay is that Classic, that will happen with Classic, and eventually we'll get to a point where players will retire and then new players will come in as well.
Yeah.
And like we'll also we've kind of hit a plateau as well in how many licenses we're taking on and things like that.
100%.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a worry in like contender and challenger, like Gaza said there, because with champion you can play cards in Bundesliga, La Liga, and Premier League, if that makes sense. So there's multiple places to do that. But with challenger and contender, it's just that competition. There's no native.
Yeah.
Like so basically, my question is there going to be an MLS native competition at any point?
we discussed it, not initially, not for the first season, and
right.
The idea is for this season anyways, to commit to what we've shared. We'll obviously adapt to feedback and make tweaks if necessary, and then if we see that the idea of special weeklies is that it gives us flexibility, where if we see certain levels of frustration or certain levels in kind of playing style that's trending and stuff that would merit a type of special weekly, we'll do it. Like the special weeklies give us, well, what's great about the system is that it gives us essentially every week we have an opportunity to offer something fun for if we see like a growing cohort of users that are feeling neglected or feel that they can't play as much as they could have the year before. I don't know so that maybe answers that question a bit. Like,
no, it does.
Special weeklies will be big in a certain part of our card supply and budget for how much we're going to give them rewards next year is already predefined for special weeklies.
Interesting. I think the biggest thing with that is just planning. Like for us as users, I think,
yeah,
isn't it? Like you can't tell us a week before. It's got to be like, you know, like you've done the monthly things. They've been awesome. Like those updates as far as we're doing this, and we're doing that on that day, and then we're doing that on that week. And it's like, okay, well, it's all new now type of thing, which is great. Like that's what we want as players, I guess.
Yeah. I think that it's two things. I think there's you want the planning, so you want to be able to, purchase a card and map out how you're going to use it across the full season, or how you might use it across the career, depending on like the type of card and your strategy for it. But there's also what I still feel is important is like those elements of fun where at a 2 weeks, so we'll have like the core special weeklies mapped out, but there's also this like thing at the back of your head where you're looking at the calendar and thinking, oh well, there's a big match there, maybe we'll do something about that, or we might even do something random and fun around teams in green jerseys, for St. Patrick's Day. And then just all of a sudden, because of your collection, you get a little bit lucky and you're like, oh cool, I can play that. It's not game changing, but it keeps the game fun,
Right.
So there will be that balance between being able to map things out, but then also I think there'll be a certain level of predictability of when special weeklies will come, but you might not know exactly what they are until maybe 2 weeks before it happens.
Yeah, well, we all know the first one's going to be a green special weekly, so Celtic card prices are going up as we speak. Sorry,
I was going to say the St. Patrick's Day special weekly on this channel is known as Quinny's birthday special.
Hey,
yeah, there we go. So that's the example I always give when I'm kind of trying to push the potential of live ops and special weeklies. I was like, for example, like give us an example. Well, for example, St. Patrick's Day we could do green.
Yeah.
I got really lucky in Ultimate Team years ago. Like they were doing all that kind of stuff. Where it was like squad builder challenges, random ones, and I just happened to have loads of Irish cards. And I think I can't remember. I got like all the Irish cards like skyrocketed because people were selling them, and so I just selling them for like some kind of, I think it was like a Robbie Keane. I had no interest in getting Robbie Keane, so I just sold all my Irish cards and I bought like a Hazard or something like that. Yeah,
it's awesome.
I was aware that we were going to be getting into this turn into an interrogation for you, Dan. There was a few people in the chat, saying their prayers for you. You think you're coming here for a party, and then you've been stuck against the wall answering questions. And we had an instant one coming in. Dan, who is your tip to win the Euros?
Well, based on the matches that I've watched, Germany look really good. They just look like a really well-balanced team. I think the only spot, I like Havertz was great in the first game. Second game, I think they kind of struggled at that front spot, but it's just like hard to not back a team with has like Kroos and Godogan like in midfield, and then Kimmich kind of coming in like they just look really good. They look like a really good international team. But I didn't catch the Spanish game, and I heard they were really impressive. And then like you can't write off France, but that I don't think Portugal will do it.
You specifically cannot write off France. I would agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
do that at your own peril.
What about you guys?
Germany.
Yeah.
I think Spain look really good. I think it's going to be Quinny's redemption tour where Murata just starts destroying people, and Quinny is going to be here just like a humongous "I told you so" to all of us.
Do you have a Murata card?
I don't. No, Morata is not one I've managed to pick up. He's one of these guys that's always been a wee bit too expensive for the lack of AAA he's got. But he's been Mr. Spain, hasn't he? And like the first game, he was good to get his goal. I think that's what Laird's referring to, because I'd kind of backed him in some rivals teams, and I think Laird had been poo-pooing him a couple of days beforehand. I kind of find it hard to look past Scotland still. So I think we're going to go. I think we're going to win it personally. We're bang on track, like but coming into the Euros, the game plan was always lose to Germany, draw with Switzerland, and then beat Hungary. That was always the plan. So I don't know how many teams are in the Euros so far that are bang on plan, bang on schedule, but Scotland are definitely bang on schedule.
They look good yesterday. Like I thought Switzerland would kind of ease into it, but Scotland were really good.
Very lucky with the offside decisions going for us, thanks to that super technology they've got with 3D modeling and everything.
Yeah, AI offside.
Yeah.
I have a Murata limited card. I'm just checking where.
What's your gallery name, Dan?
It's Dan by the book.
You're going to get a bunch of followers now. Love it.
Well, I set a new one up when I kind of got rid of my old one, because I played at the start, and then we introduced kind of employee policy rules where we weren't allowed to play for about a year and a half, and then we have kind of like strict guidelines on how we can play the game now, and we're all like monitored. So I set up a new one, and I'm doing all right. Like I'm just limited.
I was going to say, so does like Nicholas or someone sit you down and do a gallery review with you all once a month to see what he's up to?
Yeah, I think it's the legal team, the legal team's job, and I'd say they have a lot of eyes on Nicolas' gallery.
See, Zorao's been splashing the cash though.
Yeah. Well, he's we have our own internal like affiliate league, but it's like just for employees. And like top prize will get a signed Zidane jersey, which is pretty cool. And everyone's like looking at where Arthur is in the team. He's the one to beat,
Yeah.
And just like as soon as like the lineups go live, like I'm just checking what my team is compared to his. But yeah,
That's
love that. I was going to make a multi-accounting joke when you said about you've got a new account.
Me too.
Yeah. I was thinking baby accounts.
Dan the Limited Whale. Yeah. Well, the reason I'm called Dan by the book, maybe this is a fun little story, is that when I first joined all our like onboarding emails and CRM, it was signed off as Nicholas, and it was our support at the time. We also had like when you went onto the website, there was a chat window where you could just like write, and that would pretty much go into Nicola's inbox. So he kept on getting bombarded with requests and stuff. So as a quick fix, I just changed it to Dan, so people could kind of like recognize and validate me on Discord. And then we were thinking, let's put a bit more storytelling into the emails, like around like owning a club and that kind of stuff. And Brian changed it to Dan from the board. And then so people started getting emails from Dan from the board, and everyone in Discord was like ripping into me, going like, "Oh fuck, Dan's got a promotion all of a sudden," like he's a fucking board member now for Sorare. So then we just removed my name and changed it to something else. And then I don't know how it became Dan by the book, but that's where it started.
Love it.
Yeah, that was a bit boring, wasn't it?
I love it. We bit of good old Sorare folklore because, like you say, it's long gone are the days where Nicholas is getting all this stuff into his inbox and everything else in between. I mentioned before he's palling about with the Prime Minister of France and changing the world for Web3 people everywhere and football fans. So
It was the president.
the president. Sorry, I'm saying sorry, Prime Minister. Sorry, President. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, but he's still like constantly getting like messaging me DMs he's got from like community members going, oh, like, did you see this? Or, oh, did you see this tweet? You know, so like he's still there, but more from a distance. A little bit like me as well.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess one other thing I'd ask you, Dan, 'cause I know you've not got much time with us, but just kind of on the sentiment of what I was saying to you when you first came on, like where Sorare came from, where it's kind of got to at this point. Is this like maybe one of the first times where you guys kind of feel like a lot of the graft and a lot of the building is kind of done, almost-ish, you know, or because it always feels like there's been a bit of an uphill climb for Sorare with different things, get new leagues, get new cards, do this, do that, and like now it doesn't feel like there can be much of a to-do list, is there?
I think like so previously, you know, sometimes we'd have to get announcements out and prepare them a day or two before essentially there would be no window between the product being finished and us getting the announcement out. So there's like a lot of kind of improvisation and then that naturally leads to certain levels of different types of errors being made. And then you're kind of onto the next thing. And, you know, you could see that reflect in user frustration. I think there's a certain level of patience on frequency of changes and also how they're executed and done. And so there was a lot of sprinting. And I think now we've got to a stage where we're mapping things out kind of in a lot more forward-thinking way. We're able to do that in a lot more forward-thinking way. So even now, like everything that we're preparing for July, everything's locked in on a product side. Like we have all the product assets to play with and like try and make something cool to announce with. And I think that's just like a really good reflection of where the company is. You know, we've kind of gone through all the teething issues of even internal stuff. You know, it was tough trying to hire super quickly to try and like, you know, build on the momentum that was built by a kind of a small core team and hyper engaged community, most of who are still sticking around. Thanks, lads. But you know, like it was hard to keep that ship steady. Like there was a lot of internal challenges that also kind of delayed certain aspects of the building. So like long story short, like I feel like we're getting to like the end of book one, if you like. But I still think there'll be, if you go back to the original vision of like what Sorare could be and like what Nico pitched to me and what he pitched to the community and what he pitched to investors is, you know, like leading entertainment giant. So like the game is the core focus and component. Like, and we know that we have to get that right, and we have to get that right for the customers, like for the users. But like where you could go with this concept of fantasy football, the sky's the limit, and to get there, there's still more building to do. So outside of the game, there's also like, what's the live experience for you now when you're in Sorare? Like, what's the even like, can you watch clips? Is there certain types of new IP that we could get? You know, stuff like that. So that's further down the line. You know, with the rein in our ambition a little bit, but there will still be plenty more building. But I feel like we're getting much closer to getting a lot of the harder stuff right. Yeah. So I'm sleeping a lot better.
Even with the baby, yeah.
Baby.
No, when you said that, I say one of the tag phrases I remember from Nicholas back then was like the football social media, if you know what I mean, where it's like all football, you know, if you're, you know, kind of, and again, it kind of ties into some of the stuff that has been happening. I know it's kind of reserved for like the premium prizes, top spot, the Zidane stuff, and a few other things, but even like the MLS calls that happened, you know, like a year ago or something, like that, you know, the sky really is the limit for in terms of like the engagement fans can have with their favorite players and clubs and leagues and everything like that. So
honestly, that's my, like, I love the game, but that's one of my favorite parts of it is like what other game does that? I see that tweeted a lot, like what other game does that? And I think where the thing is, we've had all these amazing opportunities and we've given loads of rewards. I think where we struggle a bit as a maybe more as a marketing team is we don't do a great job of like, and it's largely down to resources and focuses of like capturing those moments and like making sure that we retell them and package them so that more people who might have usually or typically associate Sorare with like how they originally heard about it, you know, like, oh, it's some kind of scam crypto project or whatever, you know, they just overlook us then when we do future ads or placements. But if we did a better job of like packaging all those stories and moments, you'll start building also like a love for brand and what Sorare is trying to do. So you have the game, but then beyond the game, you have also like a bit of football romance to it. And I think, Queenie, you and I have chatted about this a few times, but, you know, like it's football romantics, but like, you know, that for me, I'll be really, really happy if we manage to achieve that. Whereas someone hears about Sorare and they go like, oh yeah, that's the game that's giving football back to the fans.
Yeah.
I know, some of that.
Yeah. I love it. Break through that fourth wall.
That kind of describes the first Liverpool experience in a way, wasn't it, Dan? Like, I think the experience came before, like you said, the capacity for you to market it. You know,
that's essentially what you've done there is summarize what I should have said in like a few words.
I was just thinking about, because remember that car journey, and I was like, I'm going to GoPro it, and you were like, oh, maybe we can use like, because you're explaining the Matrix in, you know, a roundabout way. You're like, maybe we can use those, and it's just like, yeah, like capturing those type of moments and making it visual for people to understand that, you know, it is quite complicated as a Matrix. Like people still don't even know what a double is, which I think is interesting. But like, I love the Matrix, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it is quite complicated for the like first user to do it. And it's just like, like you said, it's just it went backwards, unfortunately. But you did it this time around, and it looked like there was obviously cameras and all that fun stuff. So fair play.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. It was one of the things I kind of noticed from the Liverpool stuff that came out recently is like, I don't know if it was there when we were there, but like Sorare was on all the sideboards around the pitch for the whole thing. And the strips arrived. Nobody was wearing bibs.
You'll get your strips. We have loads. Like for example, on the Liverpool one, it was just myself and someone else working on it, and I had like 2 weeks to kind of scramble. And like thankfully, you lads helped out a lot as well. And like I think like Black and Jimmers flew over last minute and loads of stuff, and like it was a really good community event. But afterwards, you know, I was like, oh god, like if only we could have really captured what it was like. So we did a better job with a bigger team this time around. I wasn't too involved because it happened while I was on paternity. But yeah, like I think, like you said, Harry, we're getting better at being able to tell those stories and making sure that new people see them and start understanding a little bit more about what Sorare is trying to do. And the High Run advert was class as well. I agree. That was really.
I was gonna bring that up there. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, I was buzzing with that. Like when it came out, I was there at the shoot, and we were in a house where everyone had to take like their slippers off, like shoes off. Sorry, because it was like a rented house, and I was thinking, fuck, I wonder if like Harry's gonna come in barefoot, whatever. And like he just like fucking took his shoes straight off. He didn't even ask. Like he said, everyone, oh, I gotta take off my shoes. I was like, yeah. And he was dead on. Like he was like really sound.
Did he get it, or was he just having fun with it? Does he get it, do you think?
I explained, so I can say this one. So for example, in the contract at that stage, we hadn't really locked in what the extra reward was going to be. And so one of the things I was going to try and attempt at the shoot was like, you know, tell me a little bit about Sorare and other things we've done. So the one I said was like, you know, for example, you know, Zidane went to a match with a few fans, and you know, as you know yourself, Harry, you guys understand football at a different level. So he was kind of telling guys the difference between Camavinga and Tchouaméni, and like why he prefers Camavinga or Tchouaméni. I was like, do you think you'd be interested in like doing something like that? And then he was just like, I'll do for whatever you fucking want, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll take him to a Bournemouth game. So he was just like, I'll do whatever, man. I'm good.
Going to a Bournemouth game with Harry Redknapp would definitely be that would be an experience to film, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Apparently he goes to a lot of their games. Like he lives down there. But and then he also told me he was an Arsenal fan. I didn't know that, but he was an Arsenal fan when he was growing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard that one before
I,
either.
I was really happy with that because that was a new test of our type of marketing where we were trying to do something a lot more local, like specific to a market. And the goal wasn't necessarily to like get loads of signups around or anything like that. It was just to get Sorare's name out there in the UK, where we're struggling a little bit with certain legacies of other companies, and also the legacy of, if you like, a lot of betting companies in the UK and how they're seen and perceived in Premier League, and then crypto on top of that, you know, and then you see Sorare, which kind of gets buried in a lot of that stuff. So we're trying to like get the brand name out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of harsh if that still is. Like, obviously, you'll have the data and you'll kind of see what people say and think and stuff like that. But like, and again, like, it was probably one of the things that really tipped me into like really believing in the company and the products and everything. Is the whole blockchain element of it and how you own the card and how all that kind of stuff kind of runs around with it. But it did always feel like for the initial period that was like that was the cake. It was like, oh, this is amazing because you can own the stuff and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of good work to, like, I don't know how many users are on there now, but I dare say I don't even think half of them would be aware of half of that side of the game, which is kind of where you want it to be. Is you want it to be like a security blanket for someone rather than the reason for them to come in.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And when I said crypto there, I didn't mean that like it's for us. It's it gives what we're offering certain superpowers and validity around scarcity and all that. But you know, the perception of crypto amongst a lot of football circles is quite a negative one. And I think we're doing a better job on certain channels, but I don't know if you've like searched Sorare on Reddit, you know, for example, like we're taking a battering there. So like anytime there's been like Sorare mentioned on soccer, Reddit soccer or something like that, the posts get removed quite quickly. But you know, a lot of people just kind of immediately say, nah, what's this? Like, not interested. So there's like still work to be done on that side of things.
I thought that was a me problem. I used to post on Reddit and it couldn't go anywhere. Not even on Sorare's Reddit. I got problems posting to Sorare's Reddit as well. So I just thought that was a me problem.
I'm wanted by them, and like Reddit, like, you know, the founder of Reddit is an investor in Sorare. So like, yeah. Actually, we should probably try that. Okay, sorry, I'll write that one down.
Yeah, that'd be a good move for sure.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question, Queenie. Like how, because I know you and I chatted back in February about the announcement and stuff, and of course, I think one feedback that we got that I really resonated and related to was because when I first came into Sorare, how I was kind of pitching it to my friends even was that like, oh, it's like global fantasy football, you know, you can like mix teams from wherever, it's class. And I remember you were saying like you felt that we were losing that aspect of our DNA with the announcement. And I think to a certain extent it's true, because there is a natural shift towards the kind of, if you like, the more well-known or typically prestigious competitions. So I just, being honest, is like, maybe you didn't want to be on the spot here, but like, how are you feeling about things recently and like going into the new season?
I kind of made my bed with it after speaking to you, you know, in terms of, because again, I know you can't ever give us any definitive answers on some things, but again, the resounding sentiment that I got from you and anyone else I kind of spoke to was, there will be special weeklies. Like, then I know that was a kind of the fob off answer, and because you can't say, well, we'll do it every week, or we'll do this, or we'll do that, or whatever. But it's one of those ones where like I can see, like, and I think between me, Laird, and Harry, when we've been doing content and stuff like that, like you can, and again, it kind of ties into, I guess, some of the comments we've had today. What about how heavy Classic is going to be with the amount of cards available? There's only 3 entries per person, so I think that you guys will have a lot of pressure to have, like, I'm just going to make up a number here, 4 special weeklies on an average weekend throughout the European season or something. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't know how far close that number will be to reality, but something to that tune. And it would feel like you would have to work really hard to not have 3 or 4 going on in an average European weekend, and one of them not be a kind of all-star. So although it's kind of off the main menu as like a staple, as like a core tournament or whatever, I think, like, as much as there's been banter about where Denmark is and where Scotland is, like, I do think the way you have put the hierarchy of leagues and stuff like that makes sense to probably most football fans coming in. That was the main place where I was coming from initially. Is like, because I remember like me, I want to come in, buy whoever I want to buy, and then that's my first team. It can maybe cost less because I can scout a wee bit more, and then I can go up against whoever. But equally, if I was to put myself into the game today and I opened it up, then I would expect to see like the big 5 leagues in Europe be where the big money is, be where the kind of the top of the tree is almost. And then, yeah, there's definitely like room for contention on, you know, like why Brazil and Argentina are split up and why Denmark is ahead of Scotland, or, you know, these kind of things. But otherwise, like, you know, you can see where the leagues are, and it kind of it makes sense that the cheap cards are in this division, and it's like Bundesliga 2, it's Croatia, it's Austria, Ecuador, you know, whatever. So I think like, although like if I could wind the clock back, I would. And again, this is one of the things I think, I don't know if it was you said to me or if it was something that came out of an announcement or whatever, but under 23 is probably just going to live in that space now. And we can all agree with this, I think, to a greater or lesser extent. But even when it was All-Star, the global game, and play All-Star and the camp modes and all the rest of it, when you are scouting for undervalued players that have potential that are going to go on to realise it, the most exciting ones and the best ones and all the rest of it are under 23 anyway. You want to find like up and coming young players. So for under 23 to be like the all-star kind of thing, like I've just kind of made my bed with where we're at, and although it's not the time, it was something that upset me. I see all the kind of efforts that have been made to kind of keep the, you know, like I said earlier, like the ship in the lane of what the game's meant to be or is supposed to be.
And then we had loads of conversations on under 23 and how to fit it in the system and stuff. Because like I think that's a big part of the Sorare DNA. You just need to look at Twitter and like the amount of hype around under 23s and people tweeting about, you know, scouting the next big thing. You know, it's why most of us also started playing Football Manager. You know, it's like being the first to spot the wonder kid, like overpowered player of the new format. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say, but
yeah, no, I appreciate the question, Dan. Because I feel like we've just been grilling you for about half an hour or whatever. So
I didn't want to hug the stream either. Sorry if I.
Not at all. I think everyone's really glad to see we've had you drop in for this one. I was really thankful that you could take some time out, because I know you're a busy man, struggling to sleep most of the time, and obviously.
I'm going to watch the match now. I have my wife's out with some friends, and the baby's sleeping, so I bought myself
golden time right there.
I bought myself 2 hipster beers, and I bought myself a packet of salt and vinegar crisps. And then I'm going to just watch the football. Man of the people, Dan from Sorare.
Love it, Dan. Well, I'll let you get on with the football, mate. And again, I can't thank you enough for taking time out to come and speak to us. I wasn't expecting you to answer those kind of questions or anything like that. I do appreciate everything you were able to share.
I was buzzing when I saw your message. So like it was nicely timed as well. And you said Thursday, I was like, oh, well, I have as Laird said, a golden night. Thanks for having me, lads. Good to see Laird and Harry as well.
Good to see you, Dan.
See
you, mate. Lovely to talk.
Thanks. I'll tune in at halftime if you're still going. I'll just like watch from afar.
Sure.
So don't say anything.
Look.
Love it, Dan. All the best, mate.
That's better.
See you.
Legend it is, Dan boy. And if he didn't tell me about the crisps and the beer and everything like that, guys, because as we know, Sorare own and control the internet. So I thought we'll try and keep Dan on, because I've actually got a first little box to open here that might have some essence in it. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll claim this with Dan and see if that would help our wee bit of luck here. But I didn't want to keep him from his golden night. So I thought I'll open it with you guys and we'll see what we get out of it. It's going to be Dan blessed us. Oh, Rioja. I know who he is. Nothing amazing, but love it. There we go. We've got a wee cheeky card. I think we should give this away.
There we go.
So, guys, yeah, definitely. Well, look at this. Never seen this before, eh? This is fun.
That's nice.
This is fun. Ooh.
Wow.
There we go.
No shocking Basil.
Love it. Definitely before we finish the show off tonight, guys, we'll give the wee Rioja away that I've won for 3 wins in a row there. But guys, that was some great intel we got out of Dan as well, wasn't it?
For sure.
Yeah, it was better than nothing. No, I'm joking. No, he did what he could. He did what he could.
Aye.
Top man.
I was gonna
Top
say,
man.
yeah, I was gonna say it while he was on, and it just didn't come up. But like every year, like every August is like the biggest year for Sorare, but this one like really feels like it's the biggest one they're gonna have. Like it's the game is so different. These pre-order cards, like it's just like this is a massive year for Sorare.
Right. And they've never been in a position where like they have this whole new pre-ordered thing. Like that has not been a thing. Where like for us, the new season's like, yeah, it's amazing, it's fun, we get our cards ready, whatever. But for Sorare, it felt like they've never, maybe not even their fault necessarily, but like it's never come across as like a big deal up until like the last year and a half, maybe, as far as like releasing new cards, because it was always after the season started. It was just like, for us, you kind of just like, oh, fucking hell, we're 3 weeks in here. Now I can buy my XYZ, where now it's like, no, you're going to be buying them like a month before. Like, and the hype around that month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks before that season specifically starts. Like, yeah, that's going to be, I'm just really excited to see how that all pans out for them and us.
See, one thing that I was thinking is like antiquated now, but is definitely some good memory lane chat or whatever. Is like it's long gone now because of the auto bid system and everything that we've got at the moment, max bid. But we used to, like, being a Sorare player, you had to have like some sort of auction strategy, for how to buy cards and when to buy them. Do you go hard on number ones? Do you wait until 3 a.m. for the number 40? Or kind of anything else in between? And like this again, like Dan was mentioning what you brought up there, Harry, like the pre-order thing, it's going to just be another, like, again, that kind of thing is long gone in the past now, where you don't need to have like that kind of strategy of, oh, I'll wait for the first few to go and then try and get one a bit sneakier, or I'll wait a month or two when the kind of things dipped off. Laird, again, this is something I was quite looking forward to having you on here for as well, because me and you and Harry, of course, all three of us are this is all we do essentially in a roundabout way, So I was kind of wondering, like, for yourself, like you've been on the game 3.5 years probably at this point, or not too far off. Like when it comes to like auctions and that kind of thing, and buying cards and all the rest of it, you 3 years ago versus you now, what do you think like the biggest kind of difference or changes, or I don't know what the kind of the hone in word is there, but what I'm getting at.
I actually stopped buying cards on auction for like a long time. Like I just didn't. I think just the way that I play, I try to trade cards more than buy them, and so I tended not to look at the auctions. But then collections got me into it, because it's like there's so much more valuable collection score wise to get auctions than like getting stuff on the secondary market. I think one of the really interesting things will be when these market credits go live, and theoretically auction prices could go up because people have these market credits that like their out of pocket may be the same as like the last sale, but they have this auction credit that makes it cheaper or whatever, or we see auction prices like go up 10-15% because people aren't actually paying that much out. They have these credits. So I don't know if like we'll be able to track that or not, like to see if somebody used a market credit or not in an auction, because like if you can, there's going to be a situation where you're like negotiating for a card and someone's like, well, the last one sold for 100 euros. And you're like, yeah, but they had a market credit. They only paid 80. So I'll pay 80. And they're like, no, the price is 100. And like, there's going to be that back and forth. Some people won't care, or we'll never know. And we'll just keep going as, prices will go, theoretically, auctions will be a little higher for people using the credits. And so, I don't know, we'll see. People love card prices going up, except when they want to buy one. And then they're just like, oh, it's too expensive. But like, as soon as they buy it, they're like, yeah, go up as much as you can see. So we'll see.
Fly high. Yeah.
What about you, Harry boy, over the last couple of years in terms of buying cards, having cards? Because again, like in a different way to Laird, like your gallery is kind of ebbed and flowed and changed and developed over the last couple of years, whether it be auction buys or trading or whatever. How do you feel like coming into this season? Do you feel like there's anything different for you on the horizon in terms of how you're getting cards and dealing with them? Or
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. My gallery's changed so much since from when I first started to when I was like, okay, I'm under 23. And then now, like, there's been like 3 little cycles. First cycle being I didn't have a clue what I was doing when I first came on, and bought cards I knew names of, Lewandowski, whoever, Pellegrini. Like, I bought cards players I knew, and then it was like, oh well, I'm not really getting much luckier because that guy got Mbappe, and he's got this guy. It's like, okay, champ's done. I'm not playing champ. And then it was like, okay, what's this under 23 thing? Let me sort of have a look at, because I can go and win Mbappe there and pay a fraction of the price of the cards that are going to get me the scores to like get around that. And that was my next strategy. And yeah, obviously did pretty well with that. And the game was sent, like, you could just get away with just being an under 23 gallery. But I think since that new update in whenever Dan said it was, December or wherever they launched it or said they were going to launch it, it was like, okay, hang on a minute. Like, yeah, this doesn't feel like as optimal anymore. Like, there's no Mbappe, like there's no £20,000 card there. There's not anywhere, but it doesn't matter. And it's just like, yeah, I think the game has forced me to like come outside of my little bubble, and for a good reason. Like, I think it's way more fun if you have more lineups and more good lineups and more cards to win. More, like, everything is just more now, right? It's just like, I want to win more essence. I want to win more level ups. I want to, well, maybe not level ups, but like, you just want to win a variety of things all the time from different avenues, where that wasn't possible with the gallery I had before. It was, I have one under 23 lineup, one under 23 Red Pro, and it was like, if those flop, I flop. Where now it's like, I have 3 lineups over there, 7 over here, 1 over here. And it's just like, from a gameplay perspective, I enjoy the game 10 times more now. But now they're doing the whole 3 in under 23, as far as like you can play 3 lineups. It makes me think, well, do I want to just go down there and just place, I don't know, 9 under 23 lineups between limited and super rare? Like, that has come into my mind because I do love under 23s. I really, really do. So yeah, I'm like kind of maybe circling back. It's coming like full circle in a weird way. Maybe I'm going back to my roots. I don't know.
Yeah, I found myself playing under 23 a little bit more recently, just through happenstance more than anything. But I think under 23 is a little bit of the answer to the Gaza question we had earlier on that we can maybe tackle for a moment just now. But like, with Classic becoming like next season, every card that's on the platform is a Classic card kind of thing, and how difficult that might be. Like, under 23 is a division that I don't know if you could. I think the problem with trying to live in under 23, like as a solo competition right now, is that you don't have a clear route to in-season, because you'll be winning in-season cards, but they're going to be mixed territory. They're going to be mixed, competition. So if you're going to rely solely on card wins and stuff, it's going to be hard for you to win a team together, or even win 3 cards that will be coherent with a couple of purchases to get up and running. So I think it's maybe the only kind of difficulty that presents there. But otherwise, like, I think if you've got like challenger cards, if you can start to focus on like some under 23 challengers, and then you've got that as your kind of relief of getting an extra 3 teams out, then that might be a kind of avenue. But part of the problem then comes as you win cards that, if they're aging out or stuff like that, they might not region wise work in for you, sort of thing. But
it's tough.
But yeah.
I don't know, because I've loved playing the Euro competition, and not all the cards I have there under 23. So like, if I was just an under 23 gallery, chances are I probably wouldn't have, a World Cup team, or what I'm saying, like all those type of things. So yeah, it's so tough. I think ultimately, I think it's just nice to spread yourself, not thin, but just like equally as strong / weak / whatever in whatever area you want to play, whether that's under 23, challenger, contender, obviously, and champ and stuff. And yeah, it's I don't know. I think I'm an under 23, definitely challenger for next season, because that's where most of my cards are. And now everyone seems to be moving to contender as well. So I might have to start playing, super rare down there, or in there. Sorry, but yeah, champ's tough, isn't it? Champ's really tough. It's just so hard. Like, I want to play champs, but it's just like, Jesus, man. You have to give up a lot to play champs, basically. Yeah. Is kind of the brutality of it, for me anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel, Laird, on card count and having like I've been getting more and more rares, and I think this is maybe something people are kind of looking at, because they're getting themselves more cards, but it's like they can only play 3 lineups. Like, I'm quite happy having lots of options, and I don't mind sitting people on the bench or in training and whatever. But I know, again, you're a very lean Sorare manager typically? Like, I don't know, you have lots of guys that you don't always have a place for, but generally you're on, like, this is the thing I'm going to build, or this is the strategy I'm looking to put together.
I talk about this with Gator Guy a ton, actually, of just like why we have so many cards, or how many cards we have that we don't use. And I was just looking, 231 rare cards, and it just feels like so many. And yet, ideally, you're getting more because you're winning. Like, that's how you want to get more cards. You're winning, or you win cash and get more cards, because heaven forbid I use money for anything else. But I think the one that gets me is I have 91 super rares. And there was, like, I remember before I had one, I was just like, I don't know how anyone ever gets them. And to be honest, I hate most of them anyway, but I have them. And so they're here. But yeah, I think the game is really fun. And so the more opportunities you have to compete and win is just more fun. And so that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And so I'm not bothered as much by how many cards I have now. If anything, I just use traders and bots to turn 5 bad cards into 1 marginally okay card, and just hope that I can keep doing that. But like, that's always part of my like Sorare experience, is like trying to figure out how to turn certain cards that I don't necessarily need or want into ones that I do. And like, the lineups are secondary or tertiary even to like how I play Sorare. I just like the whole deal making part I really enjoy. And so the card accumulation is just part of it. And yeah, I just like it.
The hustle and the grind of getting cards and putting a strategy together. It's like, Gator Guy really does embody the, I don't want to say the worst of us in that sense, but it's like when you do have that bit between the teeth of, I'm going to go get these cards. When you hear Gator Guy talking about cards, that's the zone you go into, or that's the headspace you're in when I need that guy today, 10 minutes ago, even though he's not going to play football for 4 months, or, or whatever it might be.
Well, because someone else might get it.
Yeah.
Someone else. It's a global game. There are people all over the world playing. There might be someone in Nigeria right now who has this exact same idea, and I have to go get that card first.
And that is like that's a real big fun factor, isn't it? Because that's like kind of the hunt. That's you kind of like, to win the division, to ace the strategy. I need this guy. It's like assembling the Avengers or whatever, or like Expendables or whatever. You're trying to get that team together.
It actually came up the most with this Ren collection that I built, that every time like a jersey mint went on the market, I was like, I have to get it. Because if somebody else gets it, they are probably doing it for their collection, and then I'm never getting it. And that was the most fun way to just light a lot of money on fire in this game.
It's a beautiful collection, but that Ren one, And I was saying to you before, I was talking to you not long ago, and I tried talking into buying more Ren cards, if memory serves me right. So I love collections like that. Obviously, you've got the Midgetland thing going on, and all the rest of it. We've kind of spoke about, global fantasy football and tapping into clubs and all the rest of it when Dan was here. But like Ren, let's see if you're a Sorare manager listening to this, like what Laird has done with Ren is obviously the first season they were on, he's went and got like top collector, he's went and hit out maximum collection bonus on an old season collection, which is really, really hard to do, right? But the way the collection game is kind of rolled out now, and you can maybe look at like my Celtic gallery is like a bit of an example of this, but it does reward you to go season on season with a club. And if you don't have a club that you're like a supporter of, like Celtic or something like that, and a club like Ren have got easily a top 5 academy in Europe, if not the world, and that's well renowned even before Sorare, so if you can get a club like that you can kind of tap into, then that's, for me, that's a huge part of the fun of the game, or part of the exploitation on the utility you can have with it, because your guys move around. If you look at that collection, Tell's at Munich, Camavinga's at Madrid, and, so on and so forth. Doku at City, yeah, exactly. So, and that's a huge part of it, is like watching the career unfold for the guys that you've backed, or that kind of thing. So, yeah, maybe we'll see some more Ren cards with Laird soon. Who knows? But maybe not.
I got one the other day. I don't remember who it was. The international breaks, or just like international play, is very dangerous for me, because it's dangerous for my ETH balance, because I don't have enough cards to like play the Euro special weeklies or the Copa. And so it's like, oh, what else can I do? And it's like, oh, let's look for some Ren cards. And it's, oh, here's one. And then then I'm just gone. Off and running. Quinny, somebody called me out because they were like that I was a liar because I was not working this week. And this is true. I'm not working this week. I don't consider this. So this is just me hanging out with friends. This is what I do when I don't work. And so that being said, I do have to go because it's currently, I don't know how hot it is in Celsius, but it's 90 degrees outside and I have to get outside.
Enjoy, mate. Well, Joe, thanks a lot for taking time out, your time off to come and hang out. Really appreciate it, mate.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for the last 4 years, because it feels like you probably started doing content like 2 days after you joined Sorare, and you've certainly been doing it the whole time I've been here. So everything you've done has been super helpful. You've been really supportive of me and everything that I've done over the years. You've been super helpful with helping me with my gallery. I think I tweeted this, but I fully mean it. Like, this community is just way better because you're a part of it. And so thank you. And cheers to you. I tried to bring this, not to make it seem any fancier. This is plastic glass, but cheers to you, my rare essence. And
good to have me kind. Thanks a lot, man.
Enjoy the rest of the stream.
Thanks, man. What a legend. And then there was 2, Harry boy.
There was 2. Jesus. What's going on, mate? What is going on?
Well, as I said at the beginning, I didn't really have much of a plan for this. I thought it might have been a wee bit of quick-fire Q&A. We had a wee bit of AMA Q&A stuff in the chat. And again, I wasn't sure if Dan was going to join us until earlier today, so that was a huge Brucey bonus as well. We got some wee sneaky nuggets of wee bits of intel out of him as well. And I say I always love where I can get layered on the channel, but it feels like we're both kind of streaming always at the same time or at the same days and stuff like that, so it can be hard to line us up. So great to get layered on. And yourself, and I've had 1 or 2 other people messaging me since we've been on saying like, oh, I can jump on if you want to, but it's one of those ones where we're down to the last 2, Harry. I'm happy to sit and shoot the breeze for a couple of minutes because like, you know, like Laird is definitely one of my best internet friends, but like you said, you've been up here in the studio, we've been to Celtic Park, we've played football at Liverpool together, you know, you've stayed in my house, you know, so it's you know, you're definitely like the best friend that I've kind of made through playing this game, mate. So it's only fitting that there's only the 2 of us left, so love it. But we do have a wee card to give away as well, so I'll maybe set this one up and then we can sit and shoot the breeze for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll call it a night and go and catch the second half of Spain Italy.
Sounds good, mate.
So they're only control the internet, guys. They know you've been here. We've actually got the same amount of viewers as we do likes right now, which is perfect harmony. So Sorare will be happy with everyone that's watching the stream live. Fist bump to you all, you absolute heroes and legends. But earlier, for me hitting a 3-win streak, I won I forget his first name. I'm going to say it's Leo. Don't know what it is, but we won a Rioja limited card, right? Now, we've got a question. It's going to be on the YouTube live chat. I think we're only live on YouTube tonight anyway. And the answer, guys, if you want to win this card right here, right now, is going to be a number, right? It's just a number. There's going to be no decimal points in it, okay? So get ready. Get the keyboard open. Harry's away to go and get in the live chat right now.
I'm still with us. I'm just swapping my cameras around.
Yeah, go for it, man. Now, the question is, Luis, thank you, Rico, man. What did I say? I can't remember. Leo, Luis. It's just a number I want. No decimal points or anything required, right? How many limited cards does Dan by the book have?
Ooh, good question that is, by the way.
Yeah, so you had to be in here. You had to be eagle-eyed. Maybe you were on Dan by the book, dropping him a wee follow. MU player clips coming in heavy here with the 105. I'll let you know when we get a right answer. But yeah, I was asking Laird that question because I'm kind of in that frame of mind where like I've actually been picking up some rare cards over the last couple of months, and like I wasn't buying rares for ages. I was all about getting supers in. Maybe we can talk about super rares or whatever. I didn't want to ask Dan about super rares. So I did feel that you know we were giving him lots of kind of questions, and you could tell he was a wee bit against the wall with a few of them, you know. But I hope and feel that like what we've got set out now is like the game part of it, as Dan kind of alluded to, with limiteds and you know mostly rares and whatever. But I really do hope that the high stakes, the esport, the premium end of the game gets developed and rolled out, and that being supers and U's. So I didn't want to ask him about that in case it was maybe crossing a wee line or something. I was quite happy to count my chickens on. We got some wee tells and some wee nuggets to detail out of them. kind of thing. But I've been buying more and more rares. The prices have been great for them, of course. But I do feel that, like, if you've been playing the game for a number of years, and like some of us have been in the chat saying like, oh, I wish I started now with the way prices are or stuff like that. But I kind of look at the market now and think like, for me to add one more goalkeeper, and like, I bought a Killison 2 days ago because he's moving from Holland to Spain. I got him for 40 quid, thinking that's quite cheap. He fits my Valencia collection, so he's on 2%. And I think his price hasn't really changed too much. So I don't know how much of a difference it will make being a Las Palmas goalkeeper, but it felt like for a champion keeper, that was really cheap. And when I see rares like that now, where it's like, well, I've already got like 150 of them, and not having that goalkeeper would hurt me way more than not having 40 quid on me, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's been maybe a price adjustment that's maybe made them more appealing for me or whatever, but I've been buying more and more rares over this calendar year than I probably did the 18 months prior.
Yeah, I think it definitely is obviously the price thing, isn't it? Because like, I remember thinking like it was a thing, say, I don't know, whenever I was like deep into under 23s, I remember prepping for one season and being like, okay, these are my 3 mids for the season. And it's like, you know, 3 really good cards. It was like, let's say Enzo, Pedri, and whoever, right? But like at the time, they're like very expensive mids. And, you know, you can't just go buy another one of them because it's going to cost you like 800 quid type of thing at the time. Where now it just doesn't feel like we're as restricted by prices, like especially at rare level. This is what I'm talking about here. It's just like, yeah, it's weird. Now it's hard to adjust because I used to feel like you were sort of, if I wanted a new mid, an under 23 mid, I would definitely have to sell one of those 3 type of thing. Where now it's like, well, actually, I can just buy another one. Like, and I have 4 mids, you know, like that's kind of the, instead of selling him and have and 3 again, but just a new player, it's now I keep 3 and I just add to the 3 type of thing. So I think it is all definitely bound by the prices just coming down. And yeah, obviously, you know, there's definitely the downsides to that if you've bought high in certain cards, like we all have. Most of us anyway that have been around for a while. But yeah, I just think it's just nice having a pool. Like I used to be, I didn't have a real pool of players to pick from. Where now I have like a pool of players, you know, and like you said there, adding a Sillerson in, another goalkeeper, just add, you know, you can just add to these pools of players that you already have. For the price of where, like, you know, a rare goalkeeper isn't like 10 times more expensive now than the outfielder, which in some ways I don't mind. Like, I don't mind that. Like, goalkeepers, I know why they were so expensive, but like looking back, it's like, fucking hell, like, why were we paying like not so much the pound value, it was just more the comparative value to outfielders. It was just bonkers, really. But yeah. I get it. Like, it was a supply thing, but it was just nuts. Yeah, it's a good point, Mike.
I think that's one of the things I've always kind of had at the front of my mind, which is why and again, this is one of the kind of memes in the community of like nobody withdraws and all that kind of thing. But I've been withdrawing for fucking years at this point. Like, I've always been like, you know, we were talking about Morioka recently. I don't know if it was me and you or somewhere, but like, you know, I you know, winning cards and then looking at, you know, the reality of their football career and then the price they've always been in the market, or the price they were in the market at that time, I always felt quite comfortable selling some of these guys and then like buying a guy I liked who was a bit cheaper and taking that kind of skim out of it. And Mikey makes a great point here. Like, the amount of cards obviously has been the huge differentiator on this one. I've got a little bit more faith in Killison that he might do okay in champ, because the last Las Palmas goalkeeper, you know, they don't get many clean sheets, but they're busy, you know, so if he can make enough saves and not get humped, he can be halfway decent. And Rico Man's asking where Valles is actually going, Harry. I don't think we've got confirmation, but it sounds like Betis were the hottest ticket for him.
Yeah, I think Betis is almost sort of done, but yeah, I don't think it's done, but it is definitely edging closer towards that, because I think he used to play for him or something, and he's going, I'm pretty sure he was there as like a youngster maybe or something. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. So yeah,
we still don't have a right answer to how many limited cards Dan by the book has.
I know. Yeah, what's going on?
So many close answers. Been a lot of close answers. Yeah, but no one's actually hit the money on it yet.
Oh, so there's a Dan by the book and there's a Dan by the book 1, Quinny, on Sorare.
Oh, the multi-account joke was there. We never done it.
Yeah, we knew he was multi-account. I've got the correct answer, I think, as long as this is his account.
Are you trying to win the card?
I'm not, but I'm just like comparing it to what people have said, and people are close. Like, very close. but I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know why they're not on the dot.
Yeah, so many so close. I had to go and check. Maybe he'd bought another card since we'd been on. You know, he'd come off the stream with us and he's like, oh, I better go and get myself a Jasper Killison or something, you know?
Or you've sold a card, potentially.
Yeah. Guessing wasn't here. Oh, sorry. Somebody wasn't here. A few of you might not have been here for it. But yeah, down by the book. How many limited cards does he have? We're giving away a Luis Rioja that I've just won out of a Rivals box. That's the second card I've won out of a box, and both of them have came out of Rivals boxes for a 3-win streak. The only cards that I've pulled out of a box.
I reckon they're juiced up, those ones.
Blue Tomatoes is the winner.
Yeah, there we go.
Blue Tomatoes, let us know your club name. I'll double check it's not Blue Tomatoes.
Apparently, Nico Williams is having an absolute stormer of a game right now.
Oh, really? Nico Williams?
Yeah, like the
Nico Williams. See, whenever you say Nico Williams, I'm always thinking about it.
I should like. I think it's more like It's more like Neko Williams rather than Nico.
Yeah.
As far as the Welsh guy goes, but yeah, apparently he's playing really, really well. Oh yeah. Well, I say that big chance missed. Him and Pedri have big chances missed.
And Pedri, I picked Pedri. Bugger.
I know.
Blue Tomatoes, fix your settings, and we'll ship this over. Fix your settings, Blue Tomatoes, and we'll get that shipped over to you, mate.
Yeah,
sorry, I jumped over there.
No, you're good. I was just saying Spain are scoring pretty well. Cucurella's on like 40 AA already, 35 AA. Rodri's on 15 AA. Carvajal 11. Andrew Morata's got 8 AA. That's quite impressive for a forward. Big chance created, shot on target, attempted assist. Yeah.
I've not been on the desktop for a few days. I've been doing Rivals on my phone, but this is really slick on desktop right now. If you can see my team for the thingy. Already at 106 passes on the Tiki Taka, not even at half time yet. So that's a good sign. So I'm hoping these BCMs maybe just get negated out by smashing out the tactics.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I didn't think you picked Rodri then, but yeah, you do have Rodri.
I picked Pedri first, but because I didn't think I'd be able to afford Rodri and like a Pedri, you know. So I thought I'll take Pedri just because he's maybe a wee bit more bubbly in a game like this, you know, just running between lines and maybe gets a wee tap in or a wee cheeky assist.
I think he got close by the looks of. Well, I haven't seen the BCM, but I'm assuming it's a half decent chance. So yeah, Spain are looking good though. I am quite impressed with what I've seen so far with them. Just a really good midfield, loads of pace up front, and then obviously deadly killer and Morata up front. So Lenny said I need to pull my finger out. Yeah, where am I in that one, Lenny? Just looking now. I'm 10th. I'm middle of the road. Come on. It's not the end of the world.
I've had this happen to me twice now, maybe 3 times over the Euros, where it says I've not entered the arena, and I'm like fairly certain I have, you know.
As in like to play a 1v1 against somebody, yeah. That's weird. Yes.
So I've not got an arena. This is just for the, you know, the Clash of the Clans stuff, you know, the leagues and whatnot. So fair enough, whatever. But gutted. Not going to get back on the old win streak.
We need Quinny to up his game in the old Pranksy League. I'm just checking now, Quinny.
Off, mate. You can say that. Well, mate, I said this on the Deadline show on Wednesday, which I know you weren't able to make, but there's Blue Tomatoes, sorted that out. But I've been screwed big time by being Scottish on this one because, as we know, it's like the best score per day, right? And Germany-Scotland was the only game that day. So by me going Scotland, which I really shouldn't have done, but I couldn't not, right? But by me going all Scotland, I've just gave myself like a 200-point handicap on everyone because that was the only score of that day was Germany-Scotland. So I've got ground to make up, and it's been quite hard. And then there's been a few things that have caught us all out. So even though like there's been some games where it's like, in the mud if you did this or if you picked, you know, this team or that team, I've been doing that stuff as well. So I've not even managed to claw back the ground that I should have been making, you know?
Yeah. No, it's tough. It is tough. I mean, it's just been, I think this tournament's been so tough from like a clean sheet perspective, like barring France and England got a clean sheet the first game. There's just no clean sheets to be had, which I know that obviously affects everyone the same way in that sense. But like, yeah, it's just been random goals going in at stupid times, and we saw that today with the Oblak situation. And I don't know, it's been fun from a neutral perspective. I'm not complaining, but from like a fantasy football perspective, it's just been really, really frustrating because like it's just so hard to predict a lot of what's going on, which makes fun for sure. But yeah, if you're trying to be optimal and you're trying to pick the right this and this team should get a clean sheet, it's like it all goes out the window in tournament football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Unai Simon got lucky as well, Rico, man. Like that was chalked off until the goal, obviously the penalty. Did you see that? Like save the penalty, and then the guy, obviously Perisic was inside the box, wasn't he? So they didn't give the goal, but just like that was a really good score, obviously, but that was again pretty lucky that even happened.
It's been fine margins, and it's like, been do or die. Like the Switzerland game is the one that sticks in my memory because I picked Kerkez on a 41 because it was a really tight cap for that game. And I thought, well, if it's a tight game and if Hungary gets something, he's got as good a shot as being involved as anyone else in their team. But then when the lineup came out, you could have put in Dua, who was the striker, and you could have put in Abershare, the guy from Bologna who played. And in the first game, Abershare got double decisive, and I didn't put him in. I was quite Bologna biased. I was close to putting him in, but I thought, nah, he's not a good scorer. Because if you look at his scores, like his score against Hungary is the best game he's played on Sorare, that Abershare, by a long distance, But it was like, oh, if you didn't pick Abershare, like, that could have been the ground I could have made up, But like, there's just those in the Unai Simon one. If you didn't have him in that game, again as well, it's just a decision that you couldn't get away from in that match if you didn't do it.
100%.
But yeah, I think coming into season 5 for FC Barcelona, they're going into my 5th year playing Sorare. Like I'm like, as Laird kind of said in a roundabout way, but I think like this is like, it feels like the game is here kind of thing, and I'm very much looking forward to all the stuff that me and you have been up to, Harry, in terms of deadline shows and going to games and all the rest of it. I'm right up for everything kicking off this year and hopefully going to another little level. And I've actually wanted to do this kind of in the intro wee piece, but I'll kind of mention it now. But it couldn't be. I didn't even send him an invite because I know we've been mad busy. But John is also a huge big pal of mine from this kind of time in the community. And when people kind of came to my mind when Laird was talking about the studio or whatever. But when I think about people that have went through a mad change from being on Sorare, like John is like through the maddest change of all. Going from literally digitally, internet-wise, 0 to 1 million, in terms of followers and subs and all the rest of it. It's been an absolute wild ride for him, certainly. So I knew there wouldn't be much point in asking John coming on tonight, so he'd be, in the trenches, as it were. But I do feel that this season is going to be like so many people can get tapped into whatever part of the game it is that they're enjoying the most or they're up for, in terms of the scouting, the trading, playing for money, building your favourite team's collection. Everything we've kind of touched on in the show today. So I'm mad hyped for it. I'm kind of got my wee super rares ready. I'm hoping they're going to turn into some high level pro cards, and then the rares that I'm messing about with, I'm hoping they can just keep on being what they've been for me over the last little while.
100%. I'm still here, mate, by the way. I'm just doing a few bits and bobs with my cameras, which aren't looking too good for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the problem with the camera? Is it just
it's saying it's overheating, the new one.
Yeah, I had that problem.
I looked online and it said take out the SD card, which I've done. But yeah,
are you on battery power only, or have you got it plugged in also?
I've got it plugged in.
Yeah, so mine used to overheat. It still does sometimes, by the way. So maybe some of you guys that have been on the channel for a while maybe remember when that happens. But I found it got better when it was plugged into a power source as well as having the battery into it. But I felt it overheated more when it was just the battery on it. And I've never taken the SD card out of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's weird because I've got 2 leads going into I've got the HDMI and then I've got the charger, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, it is just overheating. But you can change a setting on there apparently, and you can like change the overheating setting to high, if that makes sense. So right now,
it might be the safety protocol or something.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I'll have to have a little play around with that.
Mikey's hit the nail on the head. Maybe it's just you, Harry, or maybe it's the room. Maybe like you're in quite a hot place. This place is freezing, as you know, most of the time. So
it's actually really cold in here. It's boiling outside, like Laird said. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I need to work that out. But if not, I'll have to take it back because very expensive camera to not be working.
Do you have any kind of final thoughts and feelings, Harry, coming out of, you know, the stream coming into the new season and everything else we've been kind of gushing on throughout the show today?
No, I just think we're really set up, aren't we, for what looks to be a really exciting season. Just from a Sorare perspective, like I'm still counting down the days that. Also, sorry, looking forward to the days where, our user base is just a lot bigger than what it is right now, which is, it feels like obviously it's grown, but we're still like touching the surface on where fantasy football content can go, if that makes sense from our perspective. And obviously we've been here from a lot, we've been here from basically the start. And I just really hope it like really kicks off in that way. I don't really care about prices of cards and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying everything, I want everything to go to zero, but from like a content perspective, because we have poured a lot of time into doing what we've kind of done, and it'd just be nice for it to like not even pay off, just allow us to just be seen by more people in that sense, or like our passion by more people and share it with more people, because it's nice having the niche little community that we have, but I think the game's in a situation now where like it's time to try and hit something, rather mainstream-ish. Like, I'm not saying go be FIFA YouTubers and get hundreds of thousands of views type of thing, because that's not going to happen. But like, just I just think we are set up to really knock down a few barriers, basically, from like a content standpoint, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. And I think we could be there as well. Like you say, it's not about the monetary gain of it all, but like it's like, for me, I just want to keep doing this. So part of the unnecessary evil of it is you do need to make money to pay people money to stuff, and I think you're in the same position, Gladly would do this every day for nothing, but it's not quite the way the world goes, sadly. Charlie's got a great question, I think, to maybe close on. Mine is Selhurst Park, 1,000%, especially for a UK-based stadium I want to go to this season. I don't even know about the continent, if I'll be able to get out there or where I would even go in the coming season. But Harry, do you have a stadium that you would like to chalk off in this coming year?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a stadium, but I would love to see Messi play somehow. So obviously, go watch it into Miami game or something of the sort. I'd love to do that. I don't really have a stadium, honestly, in the US I'd like love to go to, if I'm being honest. Like, a lot of their stadiums are not made for football, realistically. They do have a few specific football ones, but to be fair, I've been to Nashville and that's a really fun little stadium. But like, there's nothing like historic about anything over here, if I'm being honest. So like, it's more like watching players play. Like, I have
Mexico,
to go see
Brazil, Argentina.
from that side of things. You could, if I branch out, Boca. Like, obviously, I'd love to do all that type of stuff. To go watch Boca play. That'd be insane if that was somehow possible. But definitely gotta watch Lucho Acosta play. My little goat. Fall in love with him this season, and that should be made. Like, I could eat, not easily, but that's not like out of the realm to go watch a Cincy game. The Messi
Cincy v Miami.
That'd be fun. That'd be awesome if whenever that actually is. I'll have to have a little look on the calendar. But definitely, it's more like watching players play for me rather than the actual stadium. If I was back in the UK, it would definitely be more of a stadium perspective.
Yeah, fair. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to everyone that's joined us in the live chat today. All you heroes and legends, thanks to all the support on the channel, not just mine, but Harry's as well, and for Laird over at Sorare Data. Because like I kind of mentioned, like, this is all the three of us really got up to, and sincerely, without you guys in the live chat, without you guys that hit the subscribe button and like and join in on the videos, the streams, and everything else in between, number one, it wouldn't be possible. Number two, it wouldn't be anywhere near as fun. So sincerely, like, from me, from everyone, like, to you guys, thank you very much for absolutely everything. And we'll do our best to keep it coming and trying to lift the game like Harry was talking about, so that we can do better and better stuff for you with you. And enjoy the second half of Spain, Italy, guys. And we will catch you on the next one. Harry, as always, mate, it's been a pleasure.
Been an absolute pleasure, mate.